Andrew Tate. Wow. I mean, where do I begin? Okay, so if you clicked on this video, chances are you pretty much know what's going on in the world of the manosphere. Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines, Nick Fuentes, Justin Waller. Who else? Sneako and a guy by the name of Clavicular or something, whatever his name is. And I think that's all of them, right? Tristan Tate too. Okay, these guys, they went to a club in Miami and were rocking out to Kanye West's song "Heil Hitler." Wow, and yeah, I mean, like I said, if you clicked on this video, you pretty much know the gist of what's went down and what's going on between Sneako and Andrew Tate, and Tristan Tate too, both Tates. And I gotta say, what top rat? Andrew Tate, the rat. Tristan and Tate, they're both the Tate brothers. Man, top G's folded. Snitches, holy cow. Yeah, so I'm gonna say it like this, dude. Andrew went on, what's that? Patrick, forgive me, I'm for botching all these names. I kind of just watch videos. I don't always take the time to really catch people's names and stuff. But Patrick, David, something, BPD, DPD, you guys know what I'm talking about. He had Andrew Tate on his podcast, and I guess Tate was there just to do damage control. He went on an apology tour. Tate says it wasn't an apology tour, but we all know, obviously, it was, as a lie. At this point, I think we all know Tate will just say anything, even if it's obvious that the truth is the contrary to whatever the hell he's saying, right? So, yeah. And his justification for basically blaming Sneako on having that song by Kanye West play, that neo-Nazi rap, you know what I'm saying? It's basically to say it was Sneako's fault. He said it was Sneako's fault. I didn't do it. Sneako did it, And then baby brother Tristan rolled with it too. Yeah, it was Sneako. And Andrew Tate's justification for it is, well, I got a lot of stuff riding, guys. I got businesses going on. I'm not trying to go to jail. Brother, man, you should have thought of all of that way beforehand. You should have thought of that, 5 or 6 years ago when you're strutting around, top G, I do whatever I want, say whatever I want, never apologize, never back down to the Matrix. Now look at you. All the stuff you got riding for you, man. Man, you should have thought about that. You should have thought about that a long time ago, man. See, I'll tell you what's going on. All of the arrests and stuff, they finally taken a toll on these guys. Getting banned and shit. Let me tell you something. Everything about Andrew Tate, and I've been against this guy since day one. I mean, I've posted videos all the way back to 2021, I guess, when this guy first came out. I saw through this guy. Saw through him. All of the bravado and I don't give a F this, and it's all performative. Smoke and mirrors, the mystique. Ooh, Jedi mind tricks. It's all bogus. It's all BS. Because the moment a little pressure came, crack, they folded. And then the crazy thing is, it wasn't even a little pressure. It was zero pressure. It wasn't like he was under like an intense interrogation. They had the spotlight on him. He was there for like 5 or 6 hours. They're grilling him. All right, how's it going? No, Andrew, he literally went to that podcast, that show, with intentions to squeal, with intentions to snitch. He went in there ready to rat people out. They're talking about he folded under the pressure. There was no pressure. I think he was dropping Sneako's name before anybody even asked who played the song. It was Sneako. Come on, man. He didn't even ask you who played it or who played it. Come on. You already dropping names? Man, I don't really seem top gangster. Man, I don't know. I don't know, dude. And then, like I said, Andrews, he has the habit of, just saying one thing and doing another. And the whole time, obviously, while he's apologizing and saying I'm sorry. He's saying I'm not here to say I'm sorry, you know? And then he's all like, I'm not going to throw Sneako under the bus, even while he's throwing Sneako under the bus. Like, Tate has this way, this is his thing, this is his little niche, saying he's not going to do something and then doing what he says he's not going to do. You know, Tate's the type of guy, he'll be like, John said he had sex with Mike's girlfriend and he told me not to tell him, so I'm going to respect his wishes, so I'm not going to do that. Like, bro, you just said it. You just told everybody, bro. You know? It's tripped out, man. The whole situation is really funny, you know? And Tate's justification for basically blaming Sneako, saying, well, Sneako's the one who had the song playing. First of all, I just saw some videos right now. So on the bus, it was, I think, it was Sneako, I think, who was behind it playing on the bus or wherever they were, a van. But in the club, Myron was the one that was behind that. So it was Myron, they all played a role. And Nick Fuentes owns up to it. He said everybody was rocking out to it. These Tates, they're trying to say they do not condone it. It was horrible. Meanwhile, Tristan's bobbing his head. Tate smiling. I don't know how long ago Tate was shown getting into a Bugatti, blasting the song by Kanye West. Throwing up Sieg Heil, Hail Hitler, however the hell you say it. Throwing up the sign, man. So, again, this guy will just say anything. He's a con artist. And for a guy that plays chess, Andrew Tate has very little forethought. He's very nearsighted. So and it contradicts this whole notion that, if you play chess, you're good at chess, you're so intelligent. He's not intelligent. I hate to break it to you guys. But playing chess or being good at chess doesn't mean you're smart. It just means you have a lot of spatial awareness. So you're good with pattern recognition. Doesn't mean you're smart. And a lot of times people also confuse being well-spoken with being intelligent. No, Andrew Tate has a very good command of the English language. He has a very strong mind-to-mouth connection. So he's able to convey his thoughts very quickly in a very elegant and captivating way. But just because he's able to do this doesn't mean his thoughts are sensible or logical or intelligent. You can say incredibly stupid things in a very convincing and compelling way. It doesn't mean that you're still stupid. Andrew Tate is a moron, dude. And then the thing is, and it shows because he's not even thinking. He's constantly putting his foot in his mouth. Even if you go back to the Chase Demore fight, the fact that he even put himself in a situation to get fucking slapped around like that, humiliated, whole brand aura flops, it shows he doesn't think very much. He's not a very introspective, like a thinker or anything. He doesn't really think things through. Or his brother. None of these morons do, really. And but obviously the Myron and Sneako, they thought it through in terms of they knew the reaction they were going to get. Come on, dude. You throw on a song praising Hitler, bro. And then it's crazy. And it's the same old story, lather, rinse, repeat. These guys, they want to hide behind the freedom of speech thing. Sneako's doing, I don't know why is everyone so mad? It's freedom of speech. That's actually one of my biggest pet peeves. This whole, it's just freedom of speech shit. Yeah, and then he's all like, it's just a song. Well, no, it's not just a song, as if, we were just listening to the lyrics of, Larger Than Life by Backstreet Boys, or we're listening to Old MacDonald, like it's just a regular song. You weren't listening to NSYNC or some shit like that. Come on, man. Like you just listening to Drake, Find Your Love by Drake or some shit. No, you're listening to a song that's praising the mass murder, genocide of a group of people. Come on, man. And it's not just a song. Everybody knows how art and music and constant repeating things through psychic driving and stuff like that played a huge role in the mass murder of all sorts of people in this world. Black people have died because of words. Jewish people have died because of words. People repeating stuff and claiming, it's just a joke. I didn't do anything. I didn't touch them. Well, yeah, man, maybe you didn't touch anybody, but guess what? There could be some crazy kid or white guy out in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi that's listening to that song and seeing you guys laughing, and he thinks it's a joke too, but he'll grab his rifle and start shooting Jewish people because he thinks it's okay to start attacking people. That's how it goes. That's how the ball gets rolling. It takes a few people to just sit down and just joke about it, but I'm not touching anybody. Next thing you know, people are acting on this shit. That's how it works. It's not just a song. It's not just words. It's my freedom of speech. And this is the thing. If it's just words, why do we put so much value on freedom of speech? If it's just words, then who gives a shit if it's about your freedom of speech? Why do you care so much? Because speech cultivates realities. Speech leads to action. It inspires action. So that's why you guys care about speech so much, because it does matter. But then when you get caught abusing freedom of speech, you want to act like, oh, it's just speech. It doesn't matter. Like, which one is it, man? Some people, a lot of people are like this too. Like I said, it's one of my biggest pet peeves. This concept of hiding behind a bunch of terrible stuff in the name of freedom of speech. And it's crazy because a lot of these people, they say, they're God-fearing people. They're Christians, they're Muslims and stuff, but I don't think God cares about freedom of speech purely for the sake of freedom of speech. I think God cares more about how you use freedom of speech. Call me crazy, but that's what I think. I don't think God is just sitting around listening to people, call people, I don't know. So everyone knows the sort of terrible things you can say that can lead to very terrible actions coming about. God is not sitting up listening to you say Heil Hitler and all that stuff and thinking, well, man, that's pretty bad. But hey, freedom of speech, these are good guys. No, I don't think God thinks like that. I think God's like, man, if you're using your speech as a weapon to abuse people or harm people, man, F you. That's what I think God thinks. And if you think about it too, there's actually a verse in the Bible, Proverbs 18. I can't remember it word for word, but it speaks along the lines of you can speak life and death into the world. And it just basically it illustrates or highlights the importance of the power of our words and being accountable for our words. And words lead to action, and just be careful. And yes, you could get punished for the certain things you said. So my point is, even God does not believe in freedom of speech. And Sneako is such a slime ball, man. He has this knack of, I saw one YouTuber use this analogy. Basically, he likes to throw the stone and hide his hand. He's really good. That's his thing, doing stuff, antagonizing people and stuff, and then being like, oh, I don't get it. Why are they doing it? You know what you're doing, man. Everything, what you're doing. So I really don't like Sneako either. But one thing about Sneako that I do kind of like is that out of most people in that space, he has at least given Andrew Tate some pushback as of late. He's been challenging Tate's ridiculous sentiments on a lot of issues, and that's something we've never really seen. For the longest time, it's like people treated Tate like he walked on water or something. Everyone's so captivated by the way that he speaks and stuff. It was really bizarre. Like, especially guys, nobody would give this guy pushback. Whatever he said or whatever, it was golden. It was really bizarre to see, and it's a shame that it took him losing a fight for people to wake up and actually think. Critical thinkers, they didn't need to see Andrew Tate lose a boxing match to finally realize, man, this guy is a fraud. He's full of it. They weren't under the spell. And it's a shame the world works like that, but people are more concerned and captivated by style than they are substance, and they're more captivated by secular achievements. So if you're a person that you're good at a particular skill or something, right? And it can be a sport, it can be, or you may be good with your hands, mechanics or whatnot. People will overlook a lot of the terrible things you say and do, right? And once he got whooped like that, it really pretty much broke the spell, because now it's like, oh my God, this guy isn't what he said he was. And it wasn't just the fact that he lost, because I've talked about this before. A lot of people lose and stuff, and it happens. But the fact that he was basically making excuses and try hard again, he contradicted everything that he preached. And when it went against his brand, that's not the top G brand. Go out there and try your best, and if you lose, it's all right. It's okay. You still deserve respect. No, that's not the top G brand. It's not at all. So now he wants credit. He wants the participation points or trophies, or as they say. But no, it's ridiculous. So it's crazy. I mean, we essentially saw him drop to his knees in the fight. Fast forward to now, he dropped to his knees again. He bowed to the Matrix. He bowed to the very people he said he never bowed to. He's talking about, I have Israeli friends and partnerships. Wow, you sounding a lot different. You ain't talking like that. Mr. Top G says and does whatever the hell he wants. Man, it's mighty different tune. And I also want to say this because a lot of people have this thing where you should have never apologized. I I don't subscribe to that. I think if you do something wrong, you should apologize. You should be willing. Sometimes apologies are warranted. It's really bad with Americans in particular. This whole idea of I don't give a f what people think and I never apologize. No, I think apologizing is warranted. If you do something that's messed up or foul, yeah. But the reason Andrew Tate is getting a lot of flack because that's not the brand. Again, the brand what he promoted. He promoted never apologizing, never quote unquote bowing, even if you're wrong. That's the thing. When you have such crazy rigid ideologies or beliefs and stuff, you always shoot yourself in the foot when things go haywire because you're going to run into a situation when you're in trouble and you're going to essentially need a little bit of empathy and mercy. You're going to want a little bit of empathy and mercy, and people aren't going to have it for you. When you go around saying, oh, you don't be a bitch for apologizing and never back down, and now you're in a situation where your back's in the wall and you're scared to lose everything you have invested in, and you just flip script like that, everyone's be like, oh, what's this? What's up? So that I want to make it clear, that's definitely not what I promote. I don't believe in never apologize for anything. I don't believe in that. I think, you should have a conscience. Some things you should reflect on and be like, man, I can see how that could bother someone. So if another person has this mindset as well and they apologize for something, whatever it is, I wouldn't be like, oh man, look at you, you bitch, you folded. No, because that's not what they believe. That's not what they promoted. And I don't promote that. So if I would apologize for somebody that I really feel like, you know what, I can see how to bother you, whatever. Can anybody talk about, oh, look, see you folding? Well, I don't promote never apologize. I don't promote never fold and just say whatever you want. I'll even go as far as to say this. I don't believe in just saying anything. Yeah, free speech. You know what I mean? Wow, well, mic drop. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that. No, I don't, because it's not realistic. And really, nobody truly believes in free speech. The people that say that, they only say that when it's convenient to say that. But once they find themselves in a situation where free speech is harming them, oh man, they don't want that to hear that freedom of speech. It kind of reminds me of what's that woman's name? The politician, the bleach blonde lady, the one from Georgia, the one that used to be all on her knees for Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, this woman was a complete nutcase, co-signing everything Donald Trump did. All of the bullying, getting people threatened and stuff. But now they've had a little rip. She went against him, just one little thing or something, and now he completely threw her under the bus to the point where her life has been threatened. And now all of a sudden she's like, I can't believe this. And they're like, oh, it was all great. All of the freedom of speech and trolling and saying whatever the hell you want. It was great when it wasn't being directed towards you. Now you're no longer on the bully's side, and now you're the target. Now he's like, oh, Donald Trump, his words have gotten out of line. Get out of here. Nobody, I don't believe in freedom of speech. There you go. I believe in consequences for my actions. That's what it is. What I say, I believe in there being consequences for everything, because essentially speaking words is action. Words can lead to actions. I'm just repeating myself. Now I know I broke this down, but you're getting my point. No, and nobody really believes in freedom of speech, to be honest with you. No one really does. The same people talking about freedom of speech, they'll get mad if somebody's speech leads to their livelihood being threatened in any way. So it's a really dumb thing to say. So it's not even a realistic concept. But Americans in particular have this weird infatuation with freedom of speech. Like if I go online and say something crazy and I get banned for it, I'm not going to be complaining and saying, oh, it's this group of people, they're controlling everything and da. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm aggravating and just antagonizing the situation. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You keep on saying, it's like you keep on saying, oh, this person's violent. They're just sitting there minding their business, reading a book. This person's a violent person. They ignore you. This person's a crazy person. They ignore you. This person's da da da. And the more people are laughing and now they're antagonising you. And this person, you keep on saying this until finally this person maybe slaps the shit out you. You see, like, you see, this person's violent. This person, like, come on, dude. Like, come on. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But as far as it was something else I wanted to talk about when it came to this issue. Okay, yeah. Andrew Tate says him and Sneako weren't friends, and that's why he essentially snitched on him, threw him under the bus. Now I want to say this: even if they are not friends, Sneako has done nothing to Andrew to where doing that to him, throwing him on the bus like that, is warranted. And because you think about it, when Snake, I want to call him Snake and Tate, but I guess that would be a pretty good nickname for him. Snake, like a Snake Tate. Speaking of which, I'm gonna finish my thought about Sneako and Tate not being friends. Okay, actually, let me just finish that thought before I go on. Tate, he says they're not friends, right? Even if you're not friends, you didn't have to throw them under the bus like that, because when all of that sex trafficking stuff came out, Andrew Tate, they're sex traffickers and they're going to jail. Sneako was one of the people that was defending him. Sneako was defending Andrew Tate. Sneako has never, the only thing, like these last few months, Sneako has challenged Tate on some pretty ridiculous statements he's made about morality and war and stuff, as he should. See, Tate just wants a friend like Myron that's just going to blow him no matter what, no matter how wrong or right he is. He wants friends like Justin Waller or his brother. His brother's just going to co-sign every dumb thing. And you can tell he's a narcissist. He's just used to getting in what he wants, and any little resistance, oh, you're not his friend. He's just throwing you under the bus. Tico, I'm tripping. Tate, Sneako, bear with me. All right. Sneako has always defended Tate. He's always defended him. He's never did anything to where, like, man, can really jeopardize. He's never did anything that can really harm Tate as far as being arrested or anything like that. Sneako has never had sex with Tate's girlfriends or baby mamas or nothing like that. Because it makes me think about Tekashi 6ix9ine. Now, Tekashi, everyone says 6ix9ine, he snitched, he's a rat. Now, to be honest with you, I might lose some cool points for this. I don't really care if Tekashi 6ix9ine snitched, given the context of the situation. He's dealing with a bunch of random hooligan thugs. They're having sex with his baby mother, and I think they were doing a whole bunch of other stuff to him. They were trying to place blame on him for stuff. So, yeah, 6ix9ine don't need to show loyalty to these guys. Sneako has never done anything like that to Andrew Tate. Sneako has never put Tate in a situation to where he can get arrested. Sneako has never put Andrew Tate in a position to where, like, oh, my God, you had sex with my baby mama, nothing. So to throw him under the bus like that, one, it's ridiculous. It was a dirtbag move, a coward move. And really, there was nothing to gain from doing it, because at the end of the day, it's on film where all of y'all are rocking out to the music and the song. So what is saying, oh, if Sneako did it, what is that really going to do? Apart from, I don't know, the only thing I can think of is, man, it gets in good favor with a certain group of people, as we should put it like that, a certain group of people. And this group of people, I feel like they're going to go ahead and accept whatever apology Tate gave, even though they know Tate is full of shit. He's not really sincere, because there are videos of him rocking out to the song and throwing up Heil Hitler, Sieg Heil, whatever the hell it is. But they're just going to go along and accept it to send a message to all the viewers around the world, especially his little tater tot fans, that everybody can be bought. Everybody can be bought. Everybody can be broken. That's the message that they want to send. And by taking Tate Top G, oh yeah, and having him bend the knee, bow down, oh, that sends a huge message. They say, listen, now how about that? We took your Mr. Billy Badass, I don't care, Top G, gangster, whatever, and we made him surrender. We made him surrender. So they're going to use Tate as an example, so it's a bad look for Tate to even do that, considering the brand, because people want consistency. No matter how bad or good whatever you stand for is, unfortunately, obviously you want to stand for something good. But even if you stand for something bad, what people care more about is consistency. He's said a lot of dumb stuff, but at least be consistent. And he has not been. He wasn't consistent in his performance against Chase. It wasn't just about the fact that he lost. Man, this guy, it was the way that he lost. And then it was the way that he made excuses after he lost. It was everything, man. He's just constantly taking L's now. It's crazy to watch, you know. It really is. But yeah, it's the whole situation tripped out. And you know, and I saw Justin Waller, the white guy. Um uh he's another one of their loyal fans or whatever. He's like, I listen to country music and stuff like that. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? That don't mean you don't like the song. You can like country music, man. I know a lot of racist ass white people that co-sign that hip hop song. They only like hip hop. They say like, I like that song though, just because of what it represents, what the message behind it. So just because you like country music don't mean you won't like the song. That, you know, so that's dumb. He's just trying to, you know, save his own ass too. They all were clearly very much into that song. And it's ridiculous, you know. Like I said. I mean, you're blasting a song that's praising the genocide of Jewish people, bro. What do you think? It's a stupid move. It's an idiot move, you know. Stupid thing to do. And obviously, you know you're going to get backlash for it. Now, there's another argument point that these guys have tried to make to defend themselves. It's like, well, what about all of the rap music that's played and the OnlyFans that's promoting, you know, sex and violence, and honestly, that's very good. That's very true. Listen, I think there's a lot of other songs that need to be scrutinized, and people who are making these songs, they need to be scrutinized as well. So I definitely think that's a good point, but that doesn't take away from the fact that that song also falls in that category as well, you know? And like, yeah, you know, it's a good point that, you know, obviously there's some biases in terms of which songs are considered okay to be played, even though they're particularly destructive to a certain groups of people, and other songs cannot be played. So yeah, I totally understand that, but that still doesn't, you know, that obviously that's an issue that still needs to be figured out in some way. But you can't deny that at the end of the day, you still played a very controversial song that was obviously going to offend a certain group of people, you know. And when that group of people has so-called power to do something about it, of course they're going to use it. But you know what? That's any group. If any group has the power to do something, they're going to do something about it. Like if black people, Hispanics, Asians go to Korea and blast some music glorifying Japan doing X, Y, and Z to some Koreans and see what fucking happens. You know, they're going to shut that shit down. So it's not just whatever, you know, the group in America that you're trying to say controls everything and all these these theories and stuff like that. That's every group. Now, granted, every group doesn't have the power in certain situations, you know, but that doesn't mean they won't exercise that power if they had the ability to. You know, everybody would exercise the power to shut somebody the hell up if they could. That song mocked and glorified the genocide of a specific group of people indiscriminately, you know. And, you know, I would also go as far as to say this: if a white person were to make a song glorifying, you know, black slavery, Jim Crow South, and laughed at black people and what they had to go through and stuff, I'm pretty sure that white person will be banned as well. It's happened. There have been plenty of cases where white people have made all sorts of crazy tweets and maybe made comments and videos, and they've been banned too. So what? Does that mean black people are also controlling the media and controlling the world because that happens? Like, come on. There have been plenty of situations where people say something crazy about black people and talk about slavery and laugh about it and whatnot, and the white person, they'll lose their job and stuff. So it's not just Jewish people to where, you know, who you, like, if you say something bad about them, oh my God, you're going to be met with retribution and stuff. It goes both ways. And I think in terms of general rap music, the reason there's a little bit more gray area is because general rap music, even like the bad stuff, it doesn't really glorify or advocate mass genocide across against an entire group of people indiscriminately. Like if you notice, a lot of the rap music that talks about the violence or so-called glorifies it or whatnot, it's usually specific to certain other rappers or like gangs or like gang related, street related. It's not, oh, just go out and kill all black people, go out and kill all Mexicans, all Jewish people, all white. That's not what general rap music is. Now again, like I said, there's definitely still some rap music that is still bad, is not having a good effect on society and specific groups of people, right? And that still needs to be addressed and stuff. But to sit here and act like, if you go to the extreme of just blatantly saying all black people need to be killed and stuff like that, to act like people won't be punished for this is crazy. It just makes me think about this whole idea of free speech and what's legal, and like, man, I don't give a shit what's legal. Everyone's all like, I can free. My thing is, why are you saying it? I don't care what you're allowed to say. My thing is, why are you saying it? Like, for example, you can say, oh, going around and grabbing random girls' asses is okay. You're permitted to do so. Well, I wouldn't do that shit even if I was allowed to do it, because it's fucking wrong. Why would I do that? It's bad. It doesn't matter if the law says, oh, you're free to do it. I won't do it regardless. Just because the law has said you're free to do all sorts of things throughout history. People were once free to own slaves if they had the ability to do so. They were free to hang people off trees and get away with it and all kinds of stuff. The law says it's okay. That means you should do it. Come on. It's dumb, logic or lack of, but yeah, anyway, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the whole situation, the debacle, man. And then you have Myron Gaines. That's another thing. Myron tap dancing. Sneako wants this guy to own up, like, yo, this man. See, Dan Blazarian, oh my God, Blazarian. Dan Blazarian, I'm gonna call him Dan Blazarian. That's not how you say his name, forgive me, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The dude with the beard. He's the only one that called it like it is, straight up. Like, dude, what the hell was that? I can't believe he's walking that back. Dan kept it real, and that's what Sneako wanted Myron to do. Straightforward, bro. That's ridiculous. He flipped on you like that, and Myron's not doing. Myron, all that loyalty stuff, crap, there is a thing called being loyal to a fault. Everything in life has an exception. Yeah, you want to be loyal, but you want to be loyal to a good cause. You want to be loyal to doing the right thing. So, yeah, that whole situation is just wow. Just to see Tate just buckle under pressure like this, and I love it, to be honest. Like I said, I hate Andrew Tate. I cannot stand this guy. I've been repulsed by this guy ever since he came out. Sick body. I saw past this shit. Oh, you know who he reminds me of? Andrew Tate reminds me of Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter. Everybody, all the people that grew up Harry Potter fanatics, you understand what I'm talking about. That's the truth. Gilderoy Lockhart was known for his charm, charisma, a well-spoken guy, good-looking guy, but in the end, he turned out to be a fraud. He was taking credit for stuff he didn't do. And in the end, he actually ended up folding. He turned out to be a coward. He ran away when shit got real, and like everyone needed help to fight off, do something, and he just hightailed it out of there. Andrew Tate is that guy, Professor Lockhart, for real. Anyway, I'm done. That's all I have to say. Hopefully, let's see. That's all I have to say. Yeah, that's all I have to say. And if I have something else to say, I'll just turn the camera back on and say it. Until then, everybody, be easy. Be easy.